Hi guys. Welcome. Welcome back. Welcome aboard. Welcome home. Whatever works for you, please pick that up. Welcome to this channel. Today, I'm here to talk for a few minutes about our Capricorn full moon. Today is the 24th of June, 2021. We just happen to have a Capricorn full moon today at 3 degrees of Capricorn. And when we have a full moon, it is always in direct opposition to the sun, which happens to be at 3 degrees of Cancer today. Instead of running down placements, what I'd like to do is identify 3 clusters of energy that are very strong feeling for me, right? One is the sun, the moon, and Jupiter, right? Of course, we have that sun and moon opposition that creates our full moon. And the sun and the moon and Jupiter are planets that deal with our selves, our ego, our will, our vitality, our feelings, right? Our emotional relationships, and how those are in expansion or contraction. The second energy center I feel today is Saturn, Chiron, and Uranus. And so Saturn is rules, boundaries, restrictions, limitations, internal or external. Chiron is health, healing, or unhealedness. And Uranus is about those sudden revelations, sudden shifts and changes in your ideas, beliefs, situations, circumstances, anything like that. The third is Mars, the North Node, and Chiron. Mars is about our outward push of energy, right? How we place ourselves or our energetic in the collective. The North Node is our destiny, our fate, what we are in creation of. And Chiron, again, is that energy of being healed or unhealed, whether that's mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual. It's all kind of the same. The final energy center is Pluto, Venus, and Neptune, right? So this is transformation. This is 3D experience, or our higher octave of experience on that divine level. Also, things related to like intuition or illusion, or the way that we move through the subconscious, the unknown, those things better felt than spoken. So a full moon is about releasing, right, within the light, right, that the light of the full moon shines so brightly that nothing can be hidden, right? And so we have Pluto in retrograde opposing a Cancer Venus, right? So this is drawing our attention to, I don't know if any cards are going to come out today, you guys. This is about what feels like home, right? How we experience love, how we experience comfort, how we experience sensual pleasures, right? What we can taste, see, hear, smell, feel. And as that opposition happens, right, we're being asked to really dig into what feels like home for us, what feels good and right, and what feels in alignment with. Finally, one. Amen. So if you add Jupiter to that full moon opposition of the sun and moon, right, Jupiter in retrograde is asking us to turn inward. So how can we create from this inner expansion, right? And so how do we balance that, right? The sun and the moon are very much our deepest, certainly our most personal planets. And Jupiter asks us how we expand. And in retrograde, how are we expanding internally, inwardly? What are we shifting and changing? And how are we growing in our inner garden, right? Not what are we putting into the world. How are we putting our time and energy into our feelings of ourselves, right? And loop that into that Pluto-Venus opposition. And that is asking us to create from our subconscious, right? to create our external world as a reflection of those things that we perhaps feel so deeply that it's hard to articulate them in the 3D world, right? And so how can we create from that inner expansion, not just in the who and what of what we are, but in our feelings, right? In our expression and experience of those feelings as well. And the full moon on this Cancer Capricorn axis, right, really asks us to explore the balance, the difference in our inner and outer worlds, and the expression of that, right? The function of our feelings, the function and creation of our world based on those things, right? Specifically with that Cancer energy, how are we creating our external world to feel like home? Are we happy? Are we safe? Are we protected? Are we comforted? Are we accepted? Are we loved? Do we feel that love on all of the levels, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, right? Are you in alignment with those experiences in your life? And if you're not, how could you practically create that, right? We have Saturn, Chiron, Uranus in a little bundle of energy right now. There's power in that creation to shift what's not working and pull in what might, right? Based on your level and experience of your state of healed or unhealedness. And if it is working, how do you reinforce it, right? Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, these are all planets that allow for creation. The North Node, not only can you create it, but it's your destiny to create it, right? Mars, it's your job to create it in alignment with what you feel is healed, what you feel is best for you, is most beneficial, will offer you the most in terms of growth on all levels. And if you're out of balance and simply experiencing in one level, right, if you're just paying attention to the physical and you are ignoring the rest, you know, the others, then you need to pay attention. If you're just focusing on the emotional and ignoring everything else, this is an invitation. If you're just focusing on anything, physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, to the detriment or inclusion, and not including every other level of that, then you need to pay attention to that and figure out what you're leaving loose and hanging, right? Saturn is not going to allow that. And so if you are lacking in any one area, now is the time to witness it in that full moon and really allow this energy, right, where our inner and outer expressions are available to us, where we are able to change the structure based on our levels of healing and what we want to experience, where we're able to put into motion, right, those things that can shape our new destiny that we are choosing, and the ways that we're creating our ideas from our ideals, right, of home based on those physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels, on all the levels. It has to touch all of them or it's not the right thing. So we have the Two of Swords and the Four of Cups, right? Two of Swords is confusion. It is impartial choosing. It is not looking at the emotional aspect, right? Two of Swords is about making a decision based on logic, but sometimes not taking into account those feelings. And as we're balancing that sun and moon, and being asked to take into account all, right? We're not looking at our emotion here. We're kind of just making a choice on what we think might be great, a good reason to celebrate, but not the total package. And if if you're lacking anything, if you're lacking any one level, then you don't have the full package. And perhaps that's why you're holding back making those choices, right? Two of Swords indicates a need to make a choice, a need to make a decision, right? And so we have the Four of Cups again, and the Five of Swords. So what is it that you're not looking at, right? Three of Cups is a celebration. One of the Ace of Cups is that one extra cup that is an offering. I have these things, right? But I don't have that. So how are you deceiving yourself? How are you telling yourself you've won, but you haven't, really? How are you telling yourself, right? We're going to look here again. Three of Swords is about heartbreak, heartache, and the Two of Swords that are lost, right, is that indecision. So there's a lot of echo happening here. How are you with your perhaps limited or unexamined beliefs, keeping yourself from making that final choice in that last cup that will bring you ultimate fulfillment, right? Because that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for contentment. We're looking for fulfillment. We're looking for all the levels, not just one or two. We've got the Seven of Swords. This is definitely about deceit. We've got, again, this Two of Swords echoed here. You know, I love to break these cards down. So as we have this Two of Swords and the Five of Swords, we come to the Seven of Swords, again, highlighting these two, this need to make this choice. What are you not choosing, or what are you not choosing from your heart and soul? Here we have the Three of Pentacles. This is a card of working together. It's a card of collaboration. It's a card of perhaps I don't have this, but perhaps you do, right? It's a card of being able to discover the joy of unity, the joy of union, right? What is stronger? Oh, okay, that's weird. But what came in was, you know, you have to have at least 3 legs on a stool for it to be balanced, for it to be strong, for it to be supportive. And so, again, we're talking about these 3 cups here, right, which is celebration. But if the celebration isn't inclusive, if it's not foundational, if it's not strong, what are we actually celebrating? Clearly, nothing. Right? If we have 3 of Cups and we're celebrating something, but we know that we're lacking something else, well, then we're not really celebrating, right? And it's all coming back to this choice. It's all coming back to this lack of collaborative activity, this lack of functional resourcedness. Like we're missing a key piece somehow, some way. Like we can have these 3 pieces, but if we don't have that 4th piece to create the ultimate foundation, then we really don't have what we need. Not that we don't have everything, but we don't have what we need, right? Finally, we've got the Queen of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. I mean, what a beautiful way to sum this up. So Queen of Cups, right? She is the embodiment of emotional balance. She is the embodiment of our emotional fulfillment, right? She knows she has all of her emotional power within her. She has all of her want, need, desire in order. And she has done that healing work in order to create. And right, we're looking at that big, the Pluto-Venus opposition, both of which are aspecting Neptune, again, allowing us to create that idea of home, right? The wheel always turns. To create that idea of home based on our full experience on every level. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, right? They're all required for directions, for everywhere, right? It has to be all 4. It can't just be, we can't lack anything. She is offering this final cup, and the offering of that final cup is that emotional stability, is that emotional fullness, right? It's that Chiron energy, not just sitting in on that Saturn-Uranus square, not just sitting in with Mars and Chiron, right? But also allowing us to bridge into our own depths. What feels like home? What does feel like home? Do you know? How are you keeping yourself out of alignment? 2, 5, 7 of Swords. You are, right? The key about Swords is it's all about your belief, your ideal, right? I'm not sure what I want. Well, I thought I knew what I want and I really fought for it, but it doesn't feel like a victory. And now I'm just telling myself a story about how it was something else all along. But guess what? It's not. You knew the whole time what you were not in alignment with, and how the wheel needs to turn so that you can have that fully formed experience and not just be limping along, right? With one flat tire. That's not going to work. So however you have to dig into your feelings, and it might take some real brutal honesty on your part in order to come clean to yourself, right? But I say quite often, come clean or don't come at all. So, wow. Yep. There you go. There you go. So, let's read about this beautiful number 40 card here, shall we? I love her. I love her. Shall we? She's beautiful. Oh. Time and life. Time is a figure 8, and it's at the city. No, time is a figure 8, and its center, the city of deja vu. Wow. Right, so we know that in Eileen Land, we talk about being at that central point, right, of the infinity symbol, the flow of every polarity. That's where we live. Time is a figure 8. At its center, the city of deja vu. Time, the ultimate thief, gradually takes from us and never gives back. A hooded priestess holds out her hand, offering us a lifetime in the form of an hourglass. Its shape suggests a cyclical nature that we might simply rotate and start fresh. In smaller issues, that may be true, and indeed we often sense repetition, but in the larger sense, the hourglass is simply an illusion. In truth, such perceived patterns are merely detours along one's journey. Here, we see that the golden sand does not merely fall to be recollected, but escapes, and eventually the glass will be empty. Time is a commodity that is never really ours, but merely something we have use of for a given period. The only way to ensure the balance in our favor is for us to use our allotted time fully before it's taken from us. Live every day, hour, and minute to its fullest, right? So, you think you have time. You don't have time, right? And so, however it is that you are creating your illusions are just a waste of your time, right? That's why we're doing the work. That's why you have to believe. You have to roll on faith every single day and do that work of finding out what's in that final cup and get your beliefs out of the way so that you can actually live within your time, right? Yeah. Happy full moon, guys. Big blessings.